That's what I was thinking.
Passed, and that's why I think maybe we need to study what we already have.
Bobby, could you try to research
Certainly.
that, what we may have done in the past and what we
Yes.
have now, and we know how to proceed forward. Mr. Goodman,
Then sort
you
of
have something
review,
else?
maybe see if we're enforcing what we have.
Right, absolutely.
That's a big part of it. I know it's hard to enforce, but if we set a policy of that, then everyone will know it, then we can enforce it a lot better. If they know it when they come, rather than maybe not knowing it. But we certainly need to enforce it.
Mr. Grant?
I was just going to say that I'm all in favor of it, but we have to be prepared to enforce it. And I think checking with Chief Mitchell and just seeing what resources are available there to enforce something like this and sort of how that would be done. Because I know we do have the, no smoking in certain instances in downtown, and, it happens all the time. I mean, it's all over the sidewalks and people sitting outside, right outside entrances, and
That's true.
it's, it hasn't, that ordinance that we have has not been enforced, and it has not made any difference. And so, like I say, I'm all in favor of it, but the last thing we need is another ordinance that we're not going to enforce. So it's.
We could even require, and I don't know if maybe we do have some signs, I think, that are posted around the city that you got to be 15 feet from an entrance and all that. We may need to, some way or another, make them more aware of it, and maybe more signage or something like that even.
We have people sitting underneath those signs smoking every day. So.
I think you'll also have to amend your ordinance to include e-cigarettes. I don't think we cover that currently under our ordinance. And that, of course, as technology changes, you have to change your ordinances.
No. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else on that? I think it'd be a good point for discussion at our April 5th meeting. Anyway, okay. All right. Mayor's report. I have some serious issues and some not quite so serious. Okay. And I hope you'll know the difference here. But anyway, first of all, a serious issue that I wanted to mention is, as you know, there were some issues that occurred with the Canton Housing Authority, and I have made the appointments to actually I've made 3 appointments, 2 that occurred as a result of terms being ending, and a third from a resignation. I had sent letters requesting the resignation of the full board of those whose terms did not end, because I felt that we needed sort of a new start there, some new energy in that housing authority. And I know we had some very good people there who were volunteers, who gave it their time and energy to do that. But we need some action at the authority, and we need some real oversight from that board over the operation of it. And so I had sent letters requesting the resignation. There are 2, at this point, there are 2 board members who have decided, apparently, not to resign. And as such, the Georgia Code allows a procedure for removal. That procedure involves sending a letter of notice of a hearing for those to show cause why they should be removed, giving them 10 days notice of that hearing. The letter has been sent today with 10 days. Should that hearing will be before me, they can come before the council on their own or be represented by council. And, certainly we will hear them out relative to why they should not be removed. And then make that decision and move forward at that point. But I really regret that it kind of came to have a hearing and did not get the resignations of each of the last 2 members. But it is what it is, and we'll do what we have to do to make this a good functioning authority that has a great deal of, quote, authority to do things, to do good things for this city, and to provide housing for a lot of folks that need housing. So that's an issue. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that we would certainly invite anyone. I assume it's a public hearing about it, is it? Is it public, open to the public?
Yes. I think the city manager and I talked about that. It is a public meeting. It's not a meeting, though, that required advertising.
Okay.
But it's still open to the public.
And, you know, yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm sorry. March 26th, which will be a week from Monday, at 10 o'clock in the morning, we'll be here. It'll be held here. And I certainly would invite, I've tried to keep the council informed and seek their counsel on this decision. And I think we're pretty much unified on that decision to take the action that we've taken. And so it is the mayor's responsibility to make those appointments. And I am in the process of doing that, and we will take care of it after the hearing if they're necessary. Certainly, if we receive any letters of resignation prior to that time, there would not be a hearing on those individuals. Okay, on something a little less serious here, I wanted to maybe with a little bit of sarcasm in here too, so take it for what it's worth. Last month we discussed the recommendations of the Alcohol Ordinance Committee. The council rejected the recommendation and suggested that the mayor appoint a council committee to study that which 12 of our citizens had studied for approximately 3 months. I've been sort of in a dilemma here because the council is really so divided on the issue as to whether or not there should be food available whenever alcohol is served for consumption on premises. The council being divided, you know, how do you appoint a committee? I could appoint the 3 or the 2 and myself that maybe was in favor of the recommendations, or I could appoint some of the others, but I think from however you do it, you're going to be overbalanced one way or the other, and it's not going to be exactly a similar line of thinking, or you may not get all the, you may already have a predisposition to an outcome that you don't want to have, you know. So I've sort of debated them within myself the best way to handle the appointment of a committee. The council voted to appoint a council committee there. I'm somewhat conflicted, I guess, as to whether to leave the ordinance as it is, which is what we're doing right now, leave it like it is, and add to it as the situation dictates from time to time, or to propose a newer, more liberal ordinance and let the council work from the top down to a more sensible ordinance. With a hint of sarcasm, please consider this. I could propose the following, which would remove any doubt that the city of Canton is moving backward or that some of our attitudes regarding alcohol are old and fuddy-duddy, and that Woodstock is the only gem of Cherokee County. This, we want that, we don't want to be like Woodstock, okay? Therefore, I could propose an ordinance that, inasmuch as there are those who believe that Canton is backwards and less progressive in the area of alcohol distribution and consumption within the city, perhaps the most liberal alcohol ordinance that could exist, maybe in the state. For instance, Item 1, alcohol for package sales or consumption on premises may be licensed by the city of Canton to any city licensed business located in a commercially zoned area of the city so long as is allowed by the state. And there shall be no food requirement nor any requirement of sales other than goods or foods. and therefore no percentages of food to alcohol to complicate the matter. Be a very simple ordinance. All distance requirements shall be that which is required by the state, if any. And this proposed alcohol ordinance shall allow for breweries, wine shops, growler stores, and any other business desiring to sell, manufacture, or serve alcoholic beverages. Alcoholic beverages may be sold during any hours of the day, but must comply with state law. Open containers may be allowed within the city on public property. The entire city will be considered an entertainment district. Since no one seems to want a, quote, bar, and I got several emails saying, we don't want a bar, we don't want a bar, but some only want a place where people can gather with friends and have a good time and drink without the availability of food. We will no longer recognize the term bar, but shall call such establishment happy places. Public drunkenness will be, while discouraged, will no longer be a crime in the city. And last but not least, if Woodstock does it, regardless of what it is, it will automatically be allowed in Canton. Okay. I've got a little refining to do that, but I'm working in the right direction, I think. Okay. Now back to more serious stuff. You see Panera Bread's going up. We're all happy about that. I mean, that's moving right along. Canton Textile Mill is closed. That's going to be a big mixed-use development. The city's booming. Things are happening. And I think everyone's proud to see what's going on in downtown Canton. And basically, we don't have a lot, if any, retail space available. We need more space. We're going to get that, I think, with the grammar school and the cotton mill offices coming there. I think that's going to really kick this town up a notch or two. So the other item, and back, like I said, a little more serious here, we do have a Downtown Development Authority vacancy, and I would, Corey Wilson had stepped down for personal reasons, and I think that I would welcome, and I'll try to be making a recommendation to the council for appointment at the April 5th meeting, and then a vote on the April 19th. But I would welcome any of the board members if you would suggest or send me an email with suggestions that you may have names to do that. Okay, is there anything else? We don't have tonight, and at least another executive session. So, Mr. Estes.
My comment is not about the alcohol thing.
Oh, good.
It is, I think I just want to reiterate, on the housing authority. I know you're passionate about it, but I mean, just go on the record, the disservice that just if you think about the assets that we have there and what we have not done with that to support it as a strategic position for our citizens, I think is just awful. And so I hope that comes across, and if there is this meeting and whatnot ultimately, but I think that's just what people, I don't know what people have read or haven't read, but that is just, as I've read and heard, it's just awful.
Well, I think I did want to mention those that I don't think I did mention those. I had was appointing. I've appointed Meg Rogers, Nathan Brandon, Tyrone Gates. I've also appointed, subject to the outcome of the hearing on the 29th, Carl Moore from 26th. I'm sorry, 26th. Carl Moore from Woodstock, and Susan Stanton from Canton. Susan, you live pretty close to the part of the housing authority, don't you? Real close, yeah. Susan's good on open meetings and open records, and I think she would be a real asset on that. So anyway, the authority who was scheduled to meet today, Housing Authority, moved their meeting for 2 weeks, which will give us time to, so their meeting will be on the 28th as it is now. It's been rescheduled. That will give us time to resolve the two seats that are that we have to deal with. Anything else? Anyone else?
Motion to adjourn to Happy Places.
We have a motion. Do we have a second to that? You don't get a second? You didn't get a second, so. Oh, you did? You're too quiet. Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank y'all very much.